we'll get in, but no, we're pretty much going to get in. So we have to be content. We are growing. Like Kenny said, it's about next year is different, but we need to win that playoff game. You guys got to be walking out of that box in your tuxes with a victory.
That's right.
Hoping for a divisional lucky game.
That's no, I'm with you. And Doug, understand, like, I've never had the ability, and it's so sad, but I've never had the ability to talk about home playoff games here. And I've been here for 20 years. But
and
as
Mike,
a Giants
remember
fan,
all those agonizing. I still play those YouTube clips of you calling Caldwell a nincompoop, and he'll find a way to screw it up.
I know.
And I still go back to your agonizing, and you've been so supportive.
Well, but here's the thing.
And let me we're at, man. It's a new world.
Doug, here's the thing, and this is key. People, it's not a threat. It's just how it is. I cannot tolerate home playoff losses. Like, as a Giants fan, one of the things I held against Eli Manning, home playoff. You cannot come out after playing all year and earning a home playoff game, turn it over 3 times, and get blasted by the Carolina Panthers. Can't happen. The line, like all the goodwill Jared Goff has built up, if you want to see me turn on him, lose a home playoff game. They've got to win.
You'll turn into cookies?
Honestly. Home play losses, like what Aaron Rodgers did his last 2 years in Green Bay. Well, 2 of the last 3 years, because last year they didn't go. When you have these gaudy records and gaudy numbers and you earn the bye week and as the 1 seed in the NFC and you lose your home opener in the playoffs, unforgivable. Unforgivable.
No, you're right. You earned it, you got there, and then you just gave it all away.
They must win a playoff.
It's what makes Wild Card Weekend so much fun, but you don't want it to be you.
I wouldn't. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Ed, 97.1. Hello, Ed. Eddie.
Hey, Rico.
Hey.
How's it going, Valenti? No, I'm thinking Super Bowl. I'm not going to let you kill my joy.
Well, I'm not killing your joy. I was asking the question. You have every right to. I'm not mad about it.
If their offensive line could just be healthy for 3 or 4 games straight, that seems to be our biggest problem. We can't keep the offensive line healthy.
Listen, I still go back to this. Doug and Scott were having a conversation, and I brought it up. It's like, look at your 3rd round pick, and Ed, I apologize, your connection, something is wrong there. I look at your 3rd round. Broderick Martin, who I'm not sure if he's a real person, and a quarterback in a wheelchair in Hendon Hooker. Think about how different your season looks if you had drafted an O lineman and a D lineman who plays, or an O lineman and a corner. Mm-hmm. Your 3rd round was vaporized. And I understand. Well, Ragnow's now hurt. Earlier in the year, okay, Jonah Jackson. Guys, you have to have depth on the O line. You can't expect your 5 starters to just play in continuum every week. It's hard.
Yeah, you really did. I mean, when you put it that way, you wasted your 3rd round on players. Well, the quarterback, Hendon Hooker.
I hated the pick on principle. But Broderick Martin? And we're sitting here complaining about the defensive line? Or if you don't pick Martin, but you pick an O-lineman? Because you knew, Jonah Jackson was headed to free agency. Or you knew, Vitae couldn't be counted on.
Right. Or you just knew that, we're going to have to start replenishing some of these guys. They're getting a little long in the tooth, and yeah.
Right. So I think some of the things people bring up, it does go back to your draft. For a team who didn't want to play the free agency game, your draft is that much more important. And while they hit on Laporta and Gibbs, Campbell I'm indifferent on, but you get the point. Branch has been good. You can't whiff. Think about if they had taken a depth corner in the 3rd round, what it would look like right now. Because I'll tell you what it would look like. Jerry Jacobs wouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
Things like that are where you're going to have to accept the reality of the situation. I mean, Broderick Martin could be a cardboard cutout from the COVID era. I don't know if he's a real person. I think he's played 1 game. Broderick Martin has as many pressures as Kenny Cott.
Mistakes were made.
Now, when you're this useless as a rookie, it's kind of scary. Let's go to Nick, 97.1. What's up, Nick? How are you, buddy?
Good, Mike, Rico. Pleasure chatting with you guys. How's it going?
Hey, Nick.
Super.
Good, glad to hear it. So I just kind of want to take one step back. For me, like, it's tough to realize that we're only a third year into a quote-unquote rebuild. It's tough to call at this point with all the success that we've seen. And kind of looking long-term, bigger picture here. In a hypothetical, if we do have a home playoff game and we do lose that, I'm kind of curious where that puts you. Obviously, you're saying it's unacceptable. Does that mean that you're done with Goff? Are you questioning this regime at that point?
No, not the regime. But I'll be straight with you. And this is an emotional response as you asked me on December 5th. So be fair if you're going to call back and bust my chops. Nick, I'll be honest. I would have to pause on a long-term contract. He could still be my QB, but I'd probably take. Now, if you lose a 41-38 banger and Goff is electric, but this defense is just garbage, that's different.
See, I think I've come to the point where the long-term deal is off the table for me, and we're just going to do the Kirk Cousins franchise as long as we can go, 1 year at a time.
Wholeheartedly agree. I just being kind of 5 weeks now separated from the trade deadline, as well as the eagerness for wanting a home playoff win and wanting this defense to get better. Do you feel like the potential contractual obligations with all the great players and rookies that we have that's going to be coming in years, in the future years, do you think signing a Chase Young and having to deal with this contract could really hurt this team long term?
No, I'll tell you why. And this is not a cop-out, and I'm not being disrespectful. It's a good question. But, Nick, the salary cap isn't real. I just continue to see teams like San Francisco violate it. The Saints being $80 million over, but still able to sign Derek Carr.
In theory, they should have folded this year.
Right. It's just, Nick, the cap's not real. I just...
You brought up the Saints, and that's exactly what I thought, so it's a great point. For me, the regular season, I'm going to know exactly where the Lions stand in those final 3 weeks when we got Vikings twice and the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not going to make any playoff predictions until I see those 3 games.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at with the team right now.
My fear, I don't want to speak negativity into reality, but Nick, my fear is a rematch with the Pack. And I'd be very nervous because that team is turning it on. I swear to God, if this season ends with a home loss to the Packers, I'll lose my mind.
See, mine is if you somehow ended up in a 3 out of 4 games with the Minnesota Vikings. You don't want to play any team.
Don't worry.
3 out of 4 times.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
So you're okay with that?
I'm fine with it.
If they play 3 times in 4 weeks.
One team has a quarterback that is clearly ascending and has pedigree.
You are correct.
The other has a homeless person in a helmet.
Maybe. But the fact that you're that familiar with each other, you don't want to play any team that many times in a row.
Lions won't play anybody in the finale. They'll all rest. They're just fine. Everybody just calm down.
Maybe you need that finale to
all
not.
Right. You know what? David, where do you stand on this?
I'm back to where I was at the beginning. Just win the division, win a playoff game. That's where I'm at. I know.
But is happiness there? Can you be happy? Can you be satisfied? Or did dreaming of more mess you up?
Yeah, no, I come from a different place. Yeah, seeing more as they were better and getting better throughout the season and seeing, oh, man, NFC Championship game and the possibility was there. So, no, I'm not happy anymore. Because I think they may have ruined those chances. But really? It's the NFL. There's a month left in the year. A lot of things can change. Let it play out.
Emotionally conflicted.
Let it play out.
I've heard that. 248-539-9797.